Welcome to the most overrated, underappreciated, most viewed, underviewed podcast of all time. Welcome to the Prince of Fresh Air. That's right, baby. The most charismatic man in entertainment is back with this guy, Dimitri. How you doing, man?
What's up, man? Good to be here.
So let's get straight into the controversy. Let's not play games with the people here. So Netflix and their newest movie, Cuties, which is number one trending in the world right now, outside of all the forest fires and stuff going on. For people who don't know, Cuties is a new movie based upon 11-year-old girl who grows up in a Muslim home in Paris and decides that she wants to rebel against her culture and her parents. So she decides to join a twerk group, and a bunch of young girls decide to do this dance competition. And
Wow.
it's just, yeah, it's people who's been raving about it and upset and starting the hashtag cancel Netflix. What do you think about all of this? Have you
I,
watched the movie?
I am not watching that goddamn movie, but I'll tell you that's the first time that I actually heard the premise, like the synopsis of the movie. I didn't know that. I thought it was like maybe a dance team. I didn't know that it was a freaking twerk team, which is disgusting. These little girls, they look like they're like 2, 3 years old. Like they're little kids. Like who would want to watch that? And the thing is, people shouldn't be talking about cancel Netflix. And then here's why. Here's my take on that. Yeah, you can criticize them for saying, oh, well, why would you put that on the platform? Look, they're a network. They're just going to do what they're going to do. All they care about is money and, revenue and all that stuff. They don't care about that. People need to criticize the quote unquote stage parents, really the handlers at this point, because I can have a daughter that's super talented and everything like that. I'm reading the scripts. Okay. It's not like, oh, I'm signing her up to be in this movie and I have no idea what the movie's about. So these parents had to have some idea or clue as to what their kids were getting into before that. And you could even look in the promo like pictures. These kids, they look like they're scared. Like look at these little girls in the eye. And when you look at like the posters and they're posing and all that stuff, they have like these straight faces. Their eyes look mad empty. I don't know what the hell's going on, but to me, I think it's disgusting. The outrage is on point. People are, justified for that, but don't get mad at Netflix because nobody's gonna stop watching Netflix just because of this movie. You need to criticize, the director, the writer, the producers, and the freaking parents and everybody who was on set because that's disgusting. Like I wouldn't even want to do background for a movie like that because I'd just be like, yo, what's going on here? You couldn't pay me enough to just stand in the background and watch that freaking nasty display, little girls freaking, gyrating their backs and stuff like that because they're skinny as hell. You know what I mean? What are they twerking? Their backs? It's just disgusting. I've seen
Yeah.
little clips of that. It's just gross.
I ain't even watched no clips. I'm not watching the movie. And my whole thing was this: if when this first came out, the first complaints or pushback started in like August, and the thing was people were already complaining and never watched the movie. Now, obviously, I'm not watching the movie, but I did take the time to read about it and read headlines and reviews about it. And
Right.
I said the same thing. I think it comes down to whose fault is this? It ain't Netflix fault. They just trying to put out a movie.
Yeah,
And to be honest, I'm
that's a
not
fact.
surprised. Look at the last trending movie that they had. It was basically a porno, and like people really didn't complain about it. So I think to start it off, I do think the parents are the ones to
Yeah.
blame because a lot of parents, and I love the entertainment industry, but a lot of parents are very, hungry for their kid to do whatever they can to achieve success in this business,
Yeah.
and to allow your kid to do a movie like this is quite frankly, not surprising,
Disgrace.
but
It's
it is a
disgraceful.
disgrace. I've auditioned for reality TV shows, and the things that parents will do to try to get their kids in front of the camera is obnoxious to say the least. And I think I'm not saying they're 100% the ones at fault, but it starts with the parents. You know what I'm
Starts with the
saying?
parents.
It's like this. I had a conversation with my agent when I first signed with him, and one thing I stressed to him is like I'm grateful for the opportunity, but there are certain things I'm not willing to do regardless if it, of my career. Just certain things I'm not
It's not
comfortable
gonna
doing.
compromise on.
Exactly. No amount of money is gonna make me compromise my morals. But you also have those other people, aka parents, who don't care, and they just like, all right, oh, it's Netflix, so let me try to get my daughter in this movie,
Yeah.
and look, this movie is not getting the achievement and success that they thought it was going to get, and I'm
Yep.
not blaming all of it on the parents, but it has to start with the parents that they let their kids be in a movie like this, and now it's getting backlash. It's insane.
I'm not even letting my kids do these crazy ass horror films. Like that's one. Like if I had kids and then they were actors, they're not doing Saw 3. They're not doing Saw 5, you know what I'm saying? They're not doing there's just certain, movies or films or television shows or whatever that they just wouldn't do. You know what I'm saying? I think the
Right.
blame is really like 90-10 or like 80-20. 80% is on the parents because you just sign them without. I think every parent, it wouldn't have gotten made if every single parent who made it to callbacks or did the audition or was sitting at the table negotiating pay and everything and reading the scripts said no, then they wouldn't have been able to make the film. To me, this was like an absolute waste of a film budget because how much did it probably take to make this movie? Maybe six figures. Probably maybe $1 million or $2 million. It's not. I'm pretty sure it's not the highest budget. It was a waste of time. They could have gave me that money.
Right. Yeah, and
If you're
so
gonna just blow $600,000, $500,000, $1 million.
yeah, so basically, what people are complaining about is that a lot of people feel like the movie provides uncomfortable images to provoke a serious conversation about sexualization of girls, especially girls of color,
Little
policing,
kids.
yeah, policing of girl sexuality, double standards, and the effect of social media on kids, and how these kids learn behavior. And I mean, I get it, but the premise itself just sucks, and it's ridiculous that the whole premise of the movie is that an 11-year-old kid wants to rebel against her parents and her culture, and she decides that what, I want to do whatever I want to do, and so she goes to join a twerking group, and the kicker about it was apparently towards the end of the movie, she had a choice. It was either go join a competition, a dance competition with her team, or go to a wedding that her father was having. And she had basically pled her mom to let her go and do the the dance competition. So basically, the aunt comes in and she says, you know what, I blame, obviously Amy is the lead girl's name. She blames Amy's mom for letting her
With the
run
little
around
black
and do
girl.
all this. Yeah, blame the mom for letting her do all of this and running around and do whatever she wants to do. And then it comes down to the fact that she was like, I have a wedding to go to. And Amy decided, you know what, I'm not doing either. She put on some clothes and went hopscotching in front of the house with her friends. So it's like, the whole
Dude,
premise of this is just okay. Now, 11 year
gosh.
old kid, not even just a girl, but 11-year-old kid is running a household, doing whatever they want to do. Like
It's 2020.
I, I think it comes. I think this whole women empowerment thing is great. I love it. I support it.
Going too
But I
far.
think it's going too far. Like, a 11-year-old girl now is running around, leaving the house in the middle of the night when their parents are sleeping, pushing girls into lakes to join a competition.
Well, it's
And
definitely hyperbole because little black girls can't do that in a black household. It's definitely hyperbole.
yeah, it's the whole premise of this is just, and I get it's a movie, and I'm only speaking about it because people are throwing an outrage and saying cancel Netflix, and people saying that it's promoting pedophilia, soft porn,
Kind of
and
is
that.
when you look at it. It really looks like this isn't a movie that's for kids. You know what I'm saying? Like how there's certain like you have like a cheerleader movie with like little girls, and then you could just tell that like it's the appeal is for kids. When you'll see like little snippets on like Channel 7 or CNN, those news outlets that are reporting the news, it doesn't look like a movie that's for kids. It looks like a movie that's for older people. And why would any older person in his or her right mind want to watch a film like that? Like
Yeah,
from the shots, the way that the little girls are presenting themselves, like it's not. This isn't a kids movie. You wouldn't see a movie like that on Disney Channel. You wouldn't see a movie like that on Nickelodeon, etc. It just doesn't look right. And I mean, honestly, like I said, I wouldn't say it's Netflix's fault, but I do believe that they should take the movie down if they haven't already.
I think I'm gonna get into why I don't think they should take it down, but I think this whole cancel Netflix thing is being blown way out of proportion. And I've worked dance competitions last summer. My buddy's dad works at a Catholic school, but they partner with one of the biggest dance competition touring companies, and they would do dance competition. And I remember, like, I would do security. It would be like three of us, and like the ages would be from 10 years old to 18, and I was just looking around, like, man, like, wow, some of these outfits are just, too revealing. And it's not the dance company's fault, the touring company's fault. It's the dance company's fault that a little girl's wearing uh, you know these inappropriate clothing and stuff like that, and then you see a movie like this. It's not surprising. And I think Netflix reason for this movie was to show that social media and the influence on kids is huge, because the way how this whole movie starts is that she's just sitting at home. Obviously she already has the idea that she hates being a Muslim, I would, excuse me, not hates Muslim, but she hates the having to follow the guidelines of Muslim. And she sees her neighbor twerking. You know what I'm saying? And I think that whole thing starts with the conversation of, this is what little kids are watching. This is what little kids go on the internet and see. So they get you know they get attached to the idea that maybe they want to do that too. And I firmly agree with Netflix's if this is what they were going for, that kids do need to learn how to be kids. This whole movie was a train wreck. It was basically a little girl running her own life, doing whatever she wants to do. And it's crazy because I'll go on Facebook and I'll argue with these little kids. I'm like, yo, why are you on Facebook? You are 12 years old. You should not be on Facebook talking trash, calling people N words and saying all this nonsense. Or you go on
Thanks.
TikTok and see a bunch of little kids doing inappropriate twerking dances with their parents. And it's like, yo, like,
Game has begun.
Yeah.
where's the boundaries at? Like I said, and like you said, it goes down to the parents, because the parents are the ones that control how much these kids see. Obviously, you can't control everything. If the kids are walking down the street to school and they see something, I mean, obviously you can't control that, but you have to control what they see in social media and real life. Like, kids should be kids. Kids shouldn't be making grown-up decisions at 11 years old, 12 years old, 13, 14. It's
Right.
it's, it's mind-boggling to me.
I think, well, so two things. Did Netflix release a statement at all about this?
Yeah, so the original statement, it wasn't about the film, and I couldn't see why people were first outraged by it. The original um, promotional promotional poster for the film was the
Mm-hmm.
girls, like, they were squatting with these tight outfits on, and it just looked a little provocative. So they released a statement and said, "You know what? That's our fault. We're going to take that down. That is not appropriate." And so they came back with another title of the girls running around with backpacks and stuff like that. So yeah, that was their first statement.
And they haven't released a statement since then.
No, not
So,
as not that I'm aware of.
here's the thing. This is why I feel like Netflix wasn't going for anything, other than putting a movie out for the sake of putting a movie out. Because if this movie was to raise awareness as far as what kids have access to and how they're affected by social media and the media in general, then I think the way that the movie would be promoted and the way that it would be presented, like, to people, to the public, would be completely different. I think if it stays on Netflix at all, it's probably because they're contractually obligated, from whatever production company. You know what I'm saying? Like, they have contracts. So you have like a Warner Brothers that'll have a contract with Netflix to obviously, stream the film and make it available to people. So, Obviously it may or may not be out of their hands, because if that's the case, if they were to do that, then that'd be like a breach of contract. And I think that they don't really want to, go through, all of that. But I think they should say something, or I think that they should. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, Netflix is really, again, it's just a streaming company, so it's not like they really have. I don't want to say they don't have control, because they do. Personally, if I was in charge of Netflix, I would just say, hey, we're distancing ourselves from this movie. We don't condone that, but we're contractually obligated to have this movie up there, blah, blah, blah. And then that's it. Because I think if the movie were to be taken down, that's up to the people that are obviously in control of that movie. You see what I'm saying? So that particular production company.
Yeah, so let me backtrack a little bit and say this. So Netflix did release a statement decrying the criticism and supporting the film. And they said Cuties is a social commentary against the sexualization of young children. It's an award-winning film and a powerful story about the pressure young girls face on social media and from society more generally growing up. And we encourage anyone who cares about these important issues to watch this movie. And I get it. I know Netflix. I'm a big supporter of Netflix. I love what they do. They hire, they give people a chance to start a career and stuff like that. My issue is this: I get the pressure young girls face in life, but social media is the key. Social media. Nobody under the age of 17 should be on Instagram, should be on Facebook, shouldn't be on Snapchat, shouldn't be on Twitter. Like, when I grew up, the only thing I had was AOL Messenger. I didn't know what Facebook was. I didn't make a Facebook or Instagram until I was like 17, 18 years old. I didn't even make Instagram until I was 22, 20. I was 20. And my whole thing is this, like you said, it all comes down to the parents. Because as young kids, even when I was young, when you was young, and I'm sure everybody else who's in their 20s can say this when they were young, we didn't have social media. And we did, and eventually we end up did having social media. But nobody besides MySpace, obviously, everybody had a MySpace page, but nobody grew up going on Instagram and posting selfies and all these pictures. You know what I'm saying? I know my mom, she didn't give me a phone. I wasn't running around on Facebook, or Twitter putting stuff whatever I wanted to on there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Nowadays, and I said this before in an earlier episode, that when I was working at a sports camp, the parents would send their kids there, spend thousands of dollars for the summer, and the first thing the kids do in the morning, go on Instagram. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a different era.
Yeah, and I got little kids, 12 years old, asking me for my Instagram. Like, no.
Yeah, I wondered. They'd be like, "Hey, what's your Instagram?" I'd be like, "Yo, get your little ass out of here, bro."
Yeah, and I'm like, and this is why I say the parents are the ones to blame for all of this.
Yeah,
and
because you're not like growing up in this area. It's like social media is like, it comes with default. It's not mandatory to have social media. First of all, my kids wouldn't even have a phone. Like, they're gonna grow up the same way that I grew up. Obviously, with some improvements. But yeah, no, it's all their fault. It's all their fault.
Exactly.
And but here's my rebuttal to what Netflix said, because people don't, that whatever it is that they're saying, it's not to say that it's not true, and then that's not the moral of the story of the movie. The thing is, that had to have been conveyed in the trailer. If I watch that trailer right now, and if I don't get the message that that's the moral of the story and that's what they're going with it, then it's still their fault. You see what I'm saying? Because I've never seen the trailer. I don't know. Like I said, I've only know what I've seen in passing, what I've read and heard from you today. That's about it. I don't get that. It don't look like it. There's way too many dance scenes in that. You see what I'm saying? Like, if that was the moral of the story, then why is it that there's a close-up shots, like the little girl's crotches and shit like that, dog? Like, that's not necessary. That you don't, like, you can get the story across, you can get the moral of the story across without having to get close-ups and shit. They don't need to be twerking to do that. It could be implied. You see what I'm saying? But they don't have to be all up in the screen. You see what I'm saying? Like, if you watch news segments, you're gonna see what I'm talking about.
I mean, I've been, like I said, I worked at dance competitions, and what you just said is true. I've seen little kids, they're doing dance moves, and then all of a sudden, some sexy song comes on and they twerking and stuff, and I'm just like, nah, I'm not watching this. Like people clapping and cheering in the audience, and I'm just like, nah, bro, you wild. I'm not watching that. And hey, if your parents want to support you in that, that's fine. But yo, bro, nah, I can't roll with that. Like I love the dance competition. I'm not saying it because I like just staying at girls, but it's fun. I like the performance of it. I did dance in high school, so I support it. But then like it's and it's not even just about girls, it's dance in general. Like when I watch America's Got Talent, when people dance, they'll do like some nice cool moves, whatever. People will say woo. But then when they start doing something sexual, that's when everybody jump out their seat and start clapping, applauding, and they want
Doing
to hit the
some
golden
bullshit.
buzzer. And I'm like, yo, why does it take for someone to do some hit thrust or to get on the floor and start twerking for you to give them a standing ovation? So,
Because that's the era that we live in now. Like,
and
it's
this is
it sounds crazy, but it's true.
and this is why I don't mind what Netflix do. I think their film is there to show that kids need to get off social media, because there was at one point in the movie, and I was reading about it. Um, the girl took a picture of some sexual organs. I'll let you kind of get the idea, and she put on social media, and the students saw it, and she got backlash from it, but by her by her fellow classmates and stuff like that. It's like the fact that she was even able to post it on social media is a whole nother different story.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like my mom, when I went to New York, I talked to my mom about this because like my little sister, she knows how to use a phone and stuff. But my mom makes sure she puts parental block on everything from the TV to the tablets to everything. Because we live in a day and age where kids do need, electronics. You know what I'm saying? Especially now with classes on Zoom. You have
Right.
to give them that. And they have to learn how to, you know, operate those. But my little sister don't have a Facebook page. She's 6 years old. But I see a bunch of other 8-year-olds on Twitter. Like that right there is just, we live in a day and age, and it comes to this. We live in a day and age where a lot of parents, and I get it, I'm not a parent, so I can't say parenting is easy. I know parenting is hard. But a lot of parents don't care, to get off work. They don't want to deal with their kid. So they're like, all right, take your phone. You know what I'm saying? Put a parental
Yeah.
block on that. You know what I'm saying? Kids should be kids. They should learn how to explore the world, of course, but they should not be exploring Instagram and seeing girls post, bikini photos and say, I want to do the same thing. And they start
Pretty
doing that.
much what makes up more than 80% of what you see on Instagram. Well, at least more than 80% of what I see on there.
And look, hey, they're old, not older, but they're young women, they're 18. Go do whatever you want. I'm not going to stop you from that. But anybody below 18 should not be on Instagram, should not, especially Instagram. Facebook is, but Instagram especially, no little kid should be on there at all. Because even as a 25-year-old, I see things on there, I'm like, yo, if that was my daughter, I'd say something. But hey, you over 18, go do what you got to do. So if I saw a 14-year-old girl taking a bikini photo, nah, I gotta report you. Your parents should be in jail for letting you post and stuff like. And I know people are gonna say, oh, kids are gonna find ways, obviously, but you have to limit. The fact that they're able to download Instagram on their phone and do that at 11, 12, 13, 14 years old, it's just mind-boggling to me. There's no, you can't tell me otherwise that kids are gonna find a way. Like that's just not a reasonable excuse.
No, man. I mean, it's just a different era, and parents need to be, conscious of that. You know what I'm saying? Because there's certain things that I wouldn't want my son to see, because you can't unsee certain shit. Because like once you see something, it's like you all right. So it's like you're a little kid, and then you're like 5, maybe 6, 7 years old, and you see like a naked woman. Your mind is gonna change after that. Like let's say I'm 7 years old and I see a girl, woman. You know what I'm saying? She's not wearing that. My mind is gonna change after that. I'm never gonna unsee that, and that's gonna be factored into like the way that I think from moving forward. Parents need to know that it's that, and it was like that for us, growing up. You know what I'm saying? But now it's like that times 10, because that's just how social media is. Instagram doesn't censor anything, and it's not like Instagram says, "Oh, you have to be 18 or older to be able to use Instagram." It doesn't do that. It doesn't ask for any of that. In fact, at least I don't think so.
No, it don't.
Nope.
And And look, and like I said, this whole thing goes back to, and this is why I say this movie shouldn't be taken down because it all translates to the real world. Like the girl Amy, the girl that this movie is focused on, the twerking clique she's a part of is called Cuties. That's why the movie's called Cuties. But they're adult style dance troupe, and these are a bunch of preteens practicing for competitions, and they wear revealing outfits. And here's the thing: because of the success and the support through social networks, they decide that, hey, if it works, why fix it? So now they're starting to do more sexually explicit dance moves and doing videos about this stuff. And it comes down to this. And this is why I say this movie shouldn't take it down. All the parents should be watching this movie, especially the ones who are raising young kids, because this shows you the danger of social media. Like the fact that this 11-year-old girl, first of all, is apparently throughout this movie doing whatever she wants to do without her parents knowing. But she's out here doing all this sexual activity, and there's a lot of pedophiles and stuff in this world. But and I'm speaking, through the movie and online, through in the real world. But she's out here doing whatever she wants, doing all these sexually explicit, dance moves and stuff like that, wearing tight, revealing clothing. And I hear or see nothing about a parent. I don't see nothing about a director of any sorts telling her that she shouldn't be doing this. And like, yo, man, like you said, it's 2020, man. People and parents are just out here doing whatever they want. And yo, it just mind boggles my mind.
Yeah, I mean, just the issues with the movie has a lot less to do with Netflix and everything to do with the people who were directly involved with writing, making, shooting it, casting it, all that stuff. So if people have a bone to pick with anything, it should be those particular people. It's not really Netflix because it's out of Netflix's hands. You know what I'm saying? If they were the ones who like spearheaded the project, then cool. But they're just the distributor, as far as I know. So it's not really on them. But it's disgusting. And if, like I said, that's the moral of the story, great. But you can make a movie like that that has that moral without, again, zooming in and getting close-ups of little girls' crotches.
Yeah, I didn't watch the movie, and the director came out and said this. She said, I understand people's, opinions and stuff about it. But the key thing is, um, go watch the movie or just, read about the movie before you make judgments, because people, they see this promotional material, and they don't really know anything about the movie, but they see a poster and they say, oh, this is ridiculous, and never watch the movie.
Well,
So
don't
I
make
would
posters like that. Don't make posters like that. Make better trailers. That's it. Because you have to. She has to understand something. This is 2020, and really that this is just the era where most people sometimes, if they haven't seen the trailer, they're kind of judge a movie that hasn't been released by the poster. Sometimes some people are like that. I might see a poster and be like, oh, that movie look whack, and then like I'm not gonna see it. Needless to say, if I'm walking into the theater and I see four girls bent over in shit wearing like short shorts and stuff. Like who the freak wants to see that? It's nasty. Like I want to see that shit. So if it's not a matter of judging it, freaking make better. You know what I'm saying? Make better um promotional material. That's it. Better marketing because it looks like you're selling these girls freaking sexuality rather than you're selling an actual agenda, which is to protect young women, well, young little girls and young kids from that side of life. So really that's on her. That's not on the people, because that's I just really, yeah, I just explained that. That's not on us, that's on her.
Well, I think I don't. Some of it goes on her, but I think also, and this is why Netflix said they apologize for the promotional material, because
See.
that's Netflix more. And so like they did take responsibility and say, you know what, this poster was inappropriate. Let's do this again, and let's make this a little more. I wouldn't say family friendly, but they made it less provocative. And so the director said, and the only reason why I don't refer to his name by her name is because I don't know how to pronounce it. But she said she based the film after seeing a talent show in Paris, and that the contrasting of dancing and the traditional garb and heritage of the families and audience was pretty drastic. And she said that the here's the thing, and this comes back to what me and you said earlier about the parents. So casting for the film took nearly 6 months. Over 650 girls auditioned for the role. So that tells you that despite all of the material and stuff, obviously we all know that in the intro audition, you don't really find out too much about the film because if you don't move on to the next step, it's pointless. But at some point, after watching this, going through the audition process, does the parents say, you know what, I can't be a part of this? And this is not against Netflix, but this is for the parents. Like, at what point do you say, I don't want my child to be a part of this opportunity? You know what I'm saying? I want my child to succeed in acting, but I don't want to be a part of this film. So, like I said, it goes back to the parents. And I mean, this whole film is a mess. And the director did come out and say that she has been receiving death threats. And I don't support that one bit. I do not condone that.
It's not necessary because what is that? What is that gonna do? It's not gonna do anything. I mean, people really like to just go to the extreme again because that's just not gonna solve anything. In fact, it'll probably make things worse. So people who are sending death threats to that lady are agitators and idiots.
Yeah,
and bored on top of that because clearly you don't have anything going on with your own life to be sending death threats to a woman that's got more money than you.
Yeah, I mean, the death threats, and this is the part of our generation I kind of don't agree with. And it's like, okay, you don't like the promotion material of the film, fine, but sending death threats to the director who was just doing the job and trying to provide a vision of something she saw. I mean, it's not like she's out here slave training these little girls. No, it's a movie that she did, whether you agree with her view or not, she did to show a different light. And sending her death threats and trying to cancel Netflix, this whole idea of cancel culture is just insane. But trying to cancel Netflix over a movie that you haven't seen yet or don't know anything about yet, you just base it off of a poster. I can't support it. I don't think
people need to understand what happened already. That's it. The movie's already made. It's already out there. It happened. That's it. Really. You know what I'm saying? People can have their opinions. It's not going to change the fact that the movie's out. People have seen it. People are disgusted. Little kids were on full display. It's about what people can do moving forward and whether or not, that director, will learn from that experience and then hopefully they'll make an adjustment. But like I said, the movie's already out. The money is already, been put in, to put the movie out in the first place, to promote it and everything like that. So, I mean, it is what it is at this point, really.
Yeah, I mean, look, Netflix was trying to, she and Netflix was just trying to do a film to show that little girls should be protected. And I fully support that, and I agree. And the only way to protect them is for social media platforms to start making the ability for these younger kids to find a way onto their platform and use it. And parents, because this also goes to the parents, because throughout this whole film, she has no parental advisement. The fact that she's sneaking out the house, wearing these clothes, and doing a part of these competitions, and the parents are nowhere to be seen or heard, that's another problem. So I think the whole idea of the film, whether the execution or not is great, is another thing. But I think the idea of the film is very important. I think people should watch it. I think people should stop trying to jump to conclusions and cancel everybody without watching a movie. And sending death threats ain't changing nothing. Like you said, it makes it worse. And at the end of the day, kids need to learn how to be kids. Kids need to stop being put in a position to make their own decisions, and parents need to step up and do a better job. Because if I had a kid running around at 11, 12 years old, sneaking out the house, that's a problem. So,
well, you watch the movie and you let me know how it goes for you.
I'm not watching the movie. Nah,
that's what you just said. You said people said just watch the movie.
I think people should watch the movie, but I'm also not running around trying to scream cancel Netflix and sending
Yeah.
death threats. I think people should watch the film before they go out and start lighting their pitchforks and
Angry mob mentality.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Canceling Netflix, first of all, ain't happening because as an
Netflix is
actor
huge.
myself, yeah, I love Netflix. You know, they bring unnamed talent who's been working hard and they give them an opportunity and a platform to really get their face out there and work on their craft. I'm not going to take that away from them. Okay,
Yeah.
maybe this film may not be the hottest film of the year, but to cancel them over this film is it's a little ridiculous. And the fact that, and this go down to this, people want to get this film banned, the Netflix to be canceled because they feared that pedophiles are going to watch it. Well, that's not Netflix's fault that Jimmy, 45-year-old Jimmy, watched this film and decides to, you know, he wants to act on his fantasies. That's a problem that he and authorities need to address. That's not Netflix's fault. It's like if I watch a horror movie and Jason, Friday the 13th, Jason decides to go in the woods and kill a bunch of teenagers. If I decide to do that myself because I saw Jason do it, that's not Netflix's fault or the production's fault. That's my fault. So I'm going to end with that.
I hear you.
Do you have any final thoughts?
Final thoughts, man. I mean, like I said, it is what it is at this point. The movie's already out. People, can do it. Whatever. I'm not gonna say that. The movie's already out. Hopefully, the director can learn from this. Netflix is not going anywhere because streaming has pretty much become the future of how movies are going to be released at some point. Because you already see that most films, movie theaters, they're actually suffering right now. In my area, the movie theaters aren't even open. You know what I'm saying? Mulan is out on Disney Plus for like $30. So, I mean, that's the future. So saying hashtag cancel Netflix is an unrealistic, thing to say. An unrealistic thing to want. So, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, that's basically, I'm not, this is a nice quick take. This was a nice discussion to have. And I just hope people, before they start raising the pitchforks and trying to get, start pointing fingers. Actually, if you're not going to watch it, just read about the film. Take the time to understand the film. That's what I did. I think people need to learn outside the poster what the film's actually about before protesting. And
I've seen and heard enough.
Yeah. but with that, man, thank you for joining me on this quick take. And, you still owe me $10,000. I'm not letting that slide. And
Cap.
And remember, a helping hand is a what? You were supposed to finish it for me. Oh my, ridiculous, man. You're not coming back on the show. Nah, but a helping hand is a better hand. Thank you, Dimitri.
Peace.